The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at underdogfantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. Get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, Vanilla Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Breaking news as Scott hit the ready to record button. David Griffin fired by the New Orleans Pelicans. This means that Zion, give or take about a couple of weeks, because I'm pretty sure it was only a couple of weeks that David Griffin got hired and then the Pelicans got that number 1 overall pick. So Zion, give or take a couple of weeks, has outlasted David Griffin and officially begun his career of getting people fired.
I don't know if that's worth a clap, but I'll give him one.
Congratulations. Yeah, so he's about to get so many people fired. So many people are losing their jobs, and it's because Zion's health, and also he might be a little chubby here or there. And
I'm assuming, though, that with the GM being fired, that does open the door for Green to get fired, too, because you have a new...
dude, he's gone. What GM is coming in and saying, yeah, we want to roll with you for the whole next season?
Well, that's my point, is that some people are going, well, I'm surprised Willie Green kept his job. And I guess my point is the front office didn't trust, or I should say the ownership didn't trust Griffin to make the hiring of the new coach. So they got rid of the GM first. They'll see what his vision is, and then they'll go from there.
You know what, Scott? I'm going to make a call. This may be a stupid call, but I'll make a call. Because what if they just didn't get Willie Green in the office yet? What if during this show, Willie Green is out next?
Yeah, could be.
Like, he could just not be in the office yet. And they got to David Griffin first. This was like 3 minutes ago, Scott. So, yeah, there's a good chance that Willie Green's walking into the next 2 minutes and like, oh, it's me too, huh? All right, cool.
I mean, I think we'd agree, though, looking at how this team's turned out with all the injuries and everything, that this felt inevitable. And I think we'd agree that Willie Green probably will get fired as well, correct?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if it's not now, there's no way he lasts before the end of the season next year.
Yeah.
What GM wants to attach their name to that, really?
No, the whole point is you bring in a new GM because he can bring in his own guy and start from scratch, even though Zion's still there. But you get what I'm trying to say. So
I know.
We'll see how this team turns out, but it can't really get much worse. I think you'd probably agree with me that this season has been rock bottom. Can we say that for New Orleans?
Yeah, it has. Hey, Bill, there it is. That's who it was. Okay, so a long time ago, remember that I was saying that I was on some type of live stream, and there was a guy that called in. He was a Chicago Bulls fan. It was Bills Mafia DJ. I'm almost positive it was Bills Mafia. And he said he was at some random bar watching the game, and I was on the other side of the world watching the game. And we were just watching the game together for a little bit, and he was listening to me talk. Shout out to Bills Mafia. I'm almost positive that's who that was. Okay. If you don't know who was speaking.
Bills is confirming, by the way, that was him.
Ah, yes, I knew it. Scott's the right show. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
We have a lot of Chicago Bulls fans on the network, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say that we do have a pretty passionate Bulls fan base here in the comment section. I was going to say I've had a better morning than David Griffin. I still have a job, so it could be worse, but it's kind of crazy. He got fired on his day off. That kind of sucks, but I do think that the firing was overdue. Looking forward to the playoffs, though. I know we got the play-in games that we're going to be breaking down tomorrow as well. A lot of episodes, a lot of overall content, so if you enjoy the NBA, then you came to the right place because we do have a bunch of episodes coming up over the next week. So it's time to strap in, time to lock in, and let's enjoy the postseason.
I'm glad you changed it. Lock in was a lot better. Strap in was kind of crazy. All right.
I switched it. I switched it up.
Fine. All right. We've got a couple of things to go over. A couple of the series in the Eastern Conference here. Knicks, Pistons, and honestly, I don't know who I'm more frustrated at that we have to sit here and talk about a Bucks Pacers series.
You can make
Honestly,
an argument, though, that since both teams are so frustrating, they're actually a perfect matchup against each
yeah.
other
Oh,
for
this
mighty
is.
exciting chaos.
I hate to bury the lead of how I feel about this series, but as Scott said, lock in because it's gonna be a long ride for that one. If you get my drift here. All right, before we get to breaking down those two series, got to talk to you about SGPN. All of our picks and podcasts in one convenient place in our SGPN app. You can go get that app in the App Store, Google Play Store, wherever you get your app store. Just go lock in and grab that SGPN app and have free access to all the picks across the network, all of the podcasts across the network. Boom. Any more tennis, Scott? Monte Carlo just ended, didn't it?
Monte Carlo ended. Alcaraz won. Now the plays that I have for the
Fuck
first round,
Alcaraz for dropping the first set
and then
3-6 and
dominating the
then
last
winning
two.
the
Yeah,
last two games 12-1.
it
You
was
fucking dickhead.
it was a destruction. I mean, Musetti got injured, though, to be fair, but I have a couple plays that I came out with for Barcelona and Munich, but those matches are tomorrow. So if you want some bonus tennis plays, check out the tennis pod.
There we go. All right. Oh, he really pissed me off, Scott. When I went, I just knew I was going to see money in the account, and then to see that he dominated the rest,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it was me. I'm the bad luck jinx. It's got to be me. It's got to be me. All right, let's get into it, Scott. We've got. Let's start with. We'll start with the 3 seed, my New York Knicks, going up against the 6 seed Detroit Pistons. I mean, Scott, we knew Detroit was going to be better this year. It was hard for them to be any worse than what they were last year, but this
Yep.
is a playoff team. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff.
Do you think Monty Williams has watched any Pistons games this season, or do you think he's going out of his way to avoid watching any Pistons games this season?
Nah, I think he watched them at first to kind of prove that it wasn't him. And then
He
you see
realized
everything.
it might have been me.
It
Yeah.
might have been me. It might have been me. I might not have taken this as serious as I probably could have, but I mean, Jamie Bickerstaff got them playing defense. They had another year in the system. They did a lot of this without Jaden Ivey
Mhm.
and look really, really good without him. And honestly, is Jaden Ivey a main part of this team?
Well, if you want to open up that conversation, it is kind of a detour, but we thought when Ivy got hurt, this team didn't really have enough, I'd say, quality
Scoring.
ball handlers
Yeah.
besides Cade to at least hang in there in the Eastern Conference. At no point did we think that they were going to miss the play-in. We thought they were going to at least be involved in some form of postseason basketball. Did we think that they were going to finish in the top 6? I did not. I thought that Ivy getting hurt was going to be a big loss for them. You could argue Ivy and Cade aren't the best fits together, but the argument is, though, you're relying now on Malik Beasley, who's bounced around. Tobias Harris had a great year, even though I feel like most people thought that Tobias Harris kind of stunk after what happened in Philly. There were a lot of question marks with this team, and they have answered every question time and time again, and now they're in the playoffs for the first time in a while. So props to Detroit. I think it's the first time they made the playoffs since Blake Griffin was there. So it's been a long time, and hopefully we'll see them once again showcase their potential over the course of the series. I know you're hoping the Knicks kill this team because you, of course, are a Knicks fan, but I'm not. So go Pistons.
Per Will Guillory,
Okay.
Willie Green will remain the Pelicans head coach for now.
What the hell are we doing here? Okay, sure. All right, whatever.
Once David Griffin's replacement is hired, that person will have a say on Willie Green's future.
Okay. That's fun. As far as I know, the paychecks keep clearing if you're on hiatus but not fired yet.
Hey, just kicking that can right on down the road.
Yep. I'm assuming the argument is that they're going to let Willie Green re-interview for his current job to try to keep it. Is that basically what's happening? It's like a performance review, and they'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk. Let's see if we have the same mindset and how we could, make this team going forward. And if I don't like what you're saying, let's just go ahead and get you out of here and bring in my guy. Oh
Yeah.
man, dude, I just feel like I would just end it all now and if the guy wants to hire and look crazy and hire Willie Green, then shit, go ahead. But I think you just got to let him go. There's no way you give him a long leash next season at all.
No, they won't at all. But the point is they want to maybe just find the GM first, prioritize that, and then go from there. So I can understand where they're coming from, but I think he should be fired before the start of next season. But we'll get there when we get there.
All right. There we go. That was a quick quick loss to my call as they updated the Willie Green information.
So I guess Willie Green did check into the office.
He just got there. He
No.
literally just got there. They said, "Nah, you're good. You're safe." And he was like, "Ooh."
Said great. He drove right back home because their season's over. So he just went right back.
Oh man. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want the Knicks to win this, but I think Detroit deserves respect. Cade's been really, really good against the Knicks all year. And if Cade is playing well, then I think they have a chance. And I just don't think that Tibbs' 5-man rotation is going to be enough to get far in the playoffs. But with that being said, they showed me against the Cleveland Cavaliers that they can handle business in the first round and they can be able to get this done. And so I think that that's probably what it is here. I think the Pistons do give them a scare. I think the Pistons are very, very solid defensively. I think JB Bickerstaff, this is a revenge series for Bickerstaff with the loss to the Cavs. When he was with that Cavs team to the Knicks. So he already has game plan for the Knicks. Now he has a whole new roster to game plan for the Knicks and be able to make something happen. I do like pieces they have. I think All-Star Thompson is a really good defensive piece that has been playing a lot of good minutes for them, and that really helps them out. Malik Beasley's been coming off the bench and scoring, and he's actually had some pretty good games against the Knicks as well. I think this is a series where the Pistons kind of hang around, maybe slightly longer than people thought, but I don't think it's any question that the Knicks are probably going to end up moving on to the second round here.
Yeah, I do think the one thing I do want to ask you, which is kind of a grand question involving every team. How much do you factor form down the stretch? Because both teams were not very good to end the regular season. Detroit clinched a playoff spot against Toronto, I mean. Then after that, they lost 4 of their last 5. But the one game they won was against the Knicks. So I'm going to throw that out there. Now, for the Knicks, I don't really know what they were doing. They were kind of just benching guys and just basically going through the motions, but they lost 3 of their last 4 as well. Had that really bad loss to Cleveland, who was benching a lot of guys. I know Cat didn't play in that game, but they blew a 23-point lead at home and lost to Cleveland, missing a bunch of guys. So I do want to ask you, do you factor in the form at the end of the regular season, or do you just think teams are waiting for the actual moment to start trying again, and you're kind of just ignoring it? Because I think I'm focusing more on the second option there. I think these teams had nothing to play for. The Knicks decided, you know what, we're fine with the 3, and we're probably not going to catch, or I'll put it this way, Indiana's not going to catch us anyway, so why bother? And they just played out the string. So I personally don't care about form 10 this season. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't care about form when you're playing bad, because I think that there's a lot of other things that went into it playing bad. But if you're a team, and I hate to bury, the lead in the West, Scott, but if you're a team like the Clippers, who you were in the thick of it, and you won 8 straight to end the season and put yourself in the playoffs.
That was a great win, too, against Golden State yesterday.
Yeah, 8 straight wins. Like that, I think, is something that should go into the handicap of this team is really locked in. They're playing well. They've been playing playoff basketball for a couple of weeks. But these teams that already knew they were in started playing well, and,
they coasted.
They coasted. And that's ultimately what Detroit did. As soon as they got that game against the Raptors, they coasted. They completely coasted. So it doesn't matter to me much in this series. I'll say that.
I think I agree. I just wanted to bring that up.
With that, the series spread here is 2.5. Knicks laying 2.5 is plus 120. Detroit catching 2.5 is minus 145. I understand why the juice is on there. So I'll say this. If I don't think about how the Knicks finished that season, then it's a clear, just take Detroit in the plus 2.5 games. This is at worst, 4-6 series.
You mean 4-2?
I mean, 4-2. I'm sorry. 4-2 series. And they get out there on the skin of their teeth. Because I do think they make this somewhat competitive and they probably steal a game here or there. But I'm also afraid of the Knicks just kind of running through this team. Like, I mean, the Knicks have been able to dominate lesser teams over the course of the entire season. But Jalen Brunson is, just coming back from injury. He's getting his full legs under him. I don't know if we're going to 100% see playoff Brunson like we saw him in the past. And that's the thing that I feel like would send this Knicks team over the top and be able to make them something where they can win this in 5 or even maybe 4 if playoff Brunson is like that. But I haven't seen Brunson play like that in a little while. Like, he's been okay. He's been fine, but it hasn't been what we known him doing in the playoffs last year. So if he turns into that Brunson, then I can see myself benedicting this. But as of right now, I think I'm playing it safe. Give me Detroit plus 2.5 games.
I think I agree with you on this one. I feel like the question that I have for you, with Thibodeau as the coach of the Knicks, how many easy playoff series have they actually had when you think about it? Because they beat the Sixers last year in 5,
Mm-hmm.
which was, was it 5 or 6 last year? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was. Oh
Was
man,
it
don't
6
get
because
me.
they choked game 5 to Maxey? Is that what happened?
I think so. Let me
The
see.
point is that the Knicks always find themselves in interesting series because Tibbs gets outcoached at various points and the offense kind of goes stagnant at times. You could argue Detroit's lack of experience is going to hurt them because they have a lot of
Yeah,
inexperience on the
game
roster.
6.
It won 6. It should have won 5, but then Maxey had that crazy flurry and they won in overtime.
Yeah,
But
overtime that game 5. I remember that. Yep.
the point is, though, the Knicks just don't make it easy on themselves ever with Thibodeau as the coach. And I feel like they're going to find themselves in a couple of wars down the
Yeah.
stretch. And I do think Brunson can be the closer you need. I know you mentioned before, though, he's not really looked like himself since come back from injury. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think Detroit, they've matched up well against this team so far. They're 3-1, I believe, against the Knicks this season. We just saw them play about a week or two ago. And the Pistons, they had Brunson in jail the entire game. I know that Hart and Anunoby missed that game, but Brunson did nothing, and I like how they guarded that team. Detroit, yes, I understand they're inexperienced, but they're feisty. I think they're willing to kind of just make it as physical as possible, and it's something that you don't see a lot from young teams. A lot of young teams tend to fold mentally. They're more finesse-based. Detroit kind of is trying to redo the image of the bad boy Pistons, where they're just trying to beat the crap out of you physically every single game. And I like that. I think that is definitely a certain amount of toughness that they possess and other teams don't. Do I think they'll win the series? I think they got a shot. I'll put it that way. I do think Thibodeau is a very archaic coach, and I do wonder with the injuries down the stretch, maybe they've been trying to maintain some of these guys, Hart, Anunoby, and Towns, because of what's happened in the playoffs the last couple of years. But do I think there's a possibility that maybe there is an injury at some point in the series for the Knicks? No, because it happens every year. So I'll go with the Knicks in 7 if you want my actual prediction. I think the Knicks will win game 7 in MSG, but I do think Detroit gives them everything that they could possibly handle, and I will pick the Knicks to find a way to survive. If the Pistons end up winning the series, I would not be shocked at all. But I do think based on the overall talent for both rosters and the
Mm-hmm.
experience, I will give the Knicks the edge slightly in a close game 7. They give me a close game, give me a close series, and I do think you're going to see the Knicks barely survive before getting blasted in the second round by Boston. That's kind of my thoughts on this one. Give me the Knicks, though, in 7 games.
Oh, Knicks in 7. All right, I'll take Knicks in 6. Knicks in 7 is 4-1. I see right here, Scott. Knicks in 6 plus 380. I think for certain we're getting game 3 Detroit.
I mean, I see 2-2, and then I think we go from there.
No, but I think for certain game 3 is going to Detroit.
My
And
point is, though, the Knicks can go up 2-0. The Knicks could be down 2-1, but I think at some point it will be 2-2 in the series. You could break up the first 4 games how you want. Do we agree on that?
yeah,
I don't really see a 3-1 lead personally. I think it's going to be neck and neck early.
no, I actually can see a 3-1 lead.
You can. Okay.
Yes, so how I see the Knicks blowing it is the Knicks go up 3-1, go back home and fold away game 5 and walk into game 6 again. That's how I can see it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2-2. That makes things easy on me. I don't have to worry about anything else going forward. But I could see 3-1 and then the Knicks blow this at the end, and they just kind of settle things and get things to better. I wouldn't lay any minus 400 nothing with the Knicks or anything. But yeah, that plus 2.5 games on Detroit, and then
Go
Tibbs
from
can
there.
blow. Yeah, go from there. Tibbs can blow anything.
I see Harlow mentioning, by the way, that no matter what happens, Tibbs should get fired. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been talking about this for years. And I'm a Nets fan. I should be incentivized for the Knicks to keep Tibbs because they got no chance of winning a title with him being the coach. I do want to ask you, though, as a Knicks fan, how far does Tibbs need to go in the playoffs to keep his job?
Not far. He's not on the hot seat.
You don't think so?
No, he's not.
With all the
I
money
mean,
and
all
draft
we everybody wants him to be on the hot seat, but just because we all want him to be on the hot seat doesn't mean he is. Like, clearly, the organization is fine with what he's doing. They continue to get him new players to continue to and make a more and more and more of a run. Like, they're happy where they're at because they're not at the bottom of the league like they were for so many years. They were competitive for the second seed all season. Like, No, the Knicks are perfectly fine, and they're fine where they're at, and that's not good for teams that want to win championships. But for them, it's fine. Tibbs isn't going anywhere,
I
unfortunately.
actually think he's on a hotter seat than you think. I'll put it this way: if they lose to Boston, I think he might keep his job because that's just expected at this point.
I think that is that would be for a good franchise that actually wants to continue to get better and try to win a championship. But I'm telling you, the Knicks are complacent of where they at, being very, very competitive, but not necessarily getting there to the mountaintop.
I get that, and part of that's also Dolan being the owner when the team sucked for about 20 years, basically.
Yeah.
Like, this team
Like he's
wasn't
perfectly
relevant.
like this is a night and day difference of what it was like growing up saying you were a Knicks fan.
No, if
I
we're
promise
being
you.
honest here, the Nets became the Knicks from like 10 years ago because now the Nets are terrible and the Knicks are like fighting for a playoff spot every year.
Yeah.
So
So do I agree? Do I think I think Tibbs should go? Yes, I 100% think Tibbs should go. I would much rather see somebody come in here with the new young energy and adapt to how the NBA is being played now instead of just rotating these five guys and not even trying to get better on the bench. But I'm not the coach. I'm not the owner. I'm not nothing. I'm telling you what it looks like to me that they're perfectly fine where they're at. And they're like, hey, we could get there soon eventually. Like we just need some injuries or something else to happen on the other side and we can get there. So I don't think Tibbs' seat is hot at all. I think in the fan perspective, in the media perspective, and everybody else, it probably is. But like to the company, they've literally said not shit about anything regarding Tibbs.
So I'm going to push back a little bit because I do think it's a bit different this year because of how much draft capital and how much money they tied up into Cat and to Bridges. So with the reinforcements, which I think in hindsight are a bit underwhelming, to be honest, but still, the point is since they put so much effort in the offseason to improving the roster, if this team does lose early, they might realize it's time to maybe switch some things up.
A good
So,
team would do that, but the
yeah,
Knicks are not a good team. The Knicks
so
are happy.
maybe. The
Yeah.
point is if they lose to Boston, I think he's going to end up keeping his job. However, if they lose to Detroit, I think you have a very interesting couple of months there in New York. I think it's
Oh
a
yeah.
possibility that if the Knicks lose, let's say 4-2 to Detroit, a team that has not won a playoff series in a very long time, a team that was not expected to do much the entire season. If the Knicks go into this series and lose, and I don't mean like lose on a couple of like heartbreaking moments here, I mean like Detroit outplays them for 4 out of 6 games, and they lose in the first round after all the preseason hype and all of the hype midseason before the injuries kicked in. Do I think Tibbs is suddenly on an extremely hot seat and maybe you see the Knicks, I don't want to say overreact, but suddenly change their tune with Tibbs? I think maybe. I think if the Knicks lose to Detroit in the first round, I think he's on a hotter seat than you think. But I do
No,
agree,
but
though.
you're adding to it. Right now, I don't think his seat's hot at all. I don't think anybody cares because everybody's happy. If they lose to the Detroit Pistons, of course his seat's going to be
Yeah,
hot
my
then.
point is,
But
I
as
think
of
this
right
might go.
now, if
Yeah,
they win this series, if everything goes as planned right now, he's perfectly fine. It would take do you agree losing to the Pistons is actually a collapse? So if they collapse here, of course his seat is probably hot. But like that's adding stipulations to it. The question here is his seat hot right now? I don't think so. Not at all.
I think his seat's slightly hot because we are picking Detroit to at least keep the series very competitive and to have more than a puncher's chance of winning. But I do agree with you. I think if the Knicks win this series, he's safe. If they lose this series, this might go from 0 to 100 very quickly. That's where I'm at. Do we agree on that?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I think that's given. I think that's given. They're minus 425 favorites to win the series, so I think that's given. But
yeah, so something to keep in mind.
I don't think that they're. Unfortunately, everything you said sounds good, and it probably fits for maybe 90% of the teams in the playoffs. But for the New York Knicks,
It's
no,
also James. It's also
they're
James Dolan. So you're
they're
not
a
expecting
poverty
him to be.
organization
Yeah.
that where John Cena talked about it in his promo. You take something meaningful, the Mecca of basketball, Madison Square Garden, the WWE Championship, and you put it on something mediocre. Cody Rhodes, the New York Knicks. That's exactly what this is. All right.
I mean, I'll tell you what, though, Knicks fans would kill for a Cody Rhodes belt right about now.
I mean, any type of belt would be great. The
That's
little
what I'm
toy
saying.
belt, the little toy spinner belt at the store would be amazing. I mean, any type of championship would be fine for the New York Knicks. Like, yeah, I think the Knicks ultimately, I think the Knicks do win this series. I just think it's going to be closer. So
Yeah, for me, I think once again the Pistons are a great story, and I'm rooting for them to win. They're a very fun team to watch and root for based on what they did last year, winning 14 games. But I do think looking at the overall roster makeup, assuming everyone's healthy, the Knicks, I just think, objectively speaking, are a deeper roster. The Do you like the Pistons bench? I mean, Malik Beasley starts sometimes. Hardaway Jr. is the ultimate wild card, mostly negative, if we're being honest here. He might shoot them out of a game or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the Knicks, with their lineup playing 40-plus minutes a game, they just have so much length in the perimeter that I think can frustrate a lot of these wings that Detroit has. Is Tobias Harris going to vanish again? Maybe. We've seen that time and time again. I think the Knicks just have a bit too much depth for me in terms of scoring options in the starting lineup compared to Detroit. And if Cade has an off game, they are dead. If Brunson has an off game, the Knicks can find a way to survive. I think that's the difference. They need Cade to be really good in basically 5 or 6 of these 7 games. And I feel like that's asking a lot when the Knicks should have a solid game plan for him. So I'll go with the Knicks in a close 7.
And JB Bickerstaff went to 3 with this Cleveland Cavaliers team last year against I wouldn't say they're a bad Magic team, but it wasn't the Magic of what they were playing early this season. So yeah, competitive, don't get the win. It's fun, Detroit. Detroit's fun, but they don't get the win. And then the Knicks, the Knicks get destroyed in the next series.
I'm rooting for the Pistons. It would be fun if they got by, but I just think the Knicks right now are the more talented team on paper, in my opinion.
Have you ever had your deposit blocked by your bank right before a big bet and ever needed to cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but hit your ATM limit? Well, you need to lock in on Edge Boost. Edge Boost is back. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move your money when and where you need it without the delays that can come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $2,500,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals, by the way, as well. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never again will you wait for a wire to clear. It gets better every time you deposit into a qualified gambling account. You can earn cashback rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance fees, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Edge Boost has a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag, your place to bet the NBA playoffs. And then there's a whole bunch of other sports as well. But you got to bet the NBA playoffs over there. Get down on some of these series futures we're talking about. Accepts customers from a ton of different locations, easily deposit and use lightning fast payouts with cryptocurrency. So get over there and get down on Detroit. 2.5 games. We feel good about it. We don't think that the Knicks are going to go out here and just handle business completely, but Detroit makes things competitive. So yeah, 2.5 games on Detroit over there. Mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right.
We got your favorite series up next.
Milwaukee Bucks.
You are so frustrated this is the playoff matchup in the first round.
Because it's boring, man. It's probably not going to be boring, but it's boring because, we already know what's written for both of these two teams on the other side. And I think that's boring. At least if you told me that the Knicks and the Pistons were going on, okay, the next round, we might have something to talk about here. But we've been oversaturated because we got 11 games of this last year. That was way too many. The games this year were ultra competitive, but they were also very stupid how, they ended up losing those games, especially the crazy 3-point shot by Halliburton and how the Bucks found a way to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
This is just going to be a war. We don't know if Dame's back. So that's the number one question for this series. We don't know if Dame is coming back. They're going to reevaluate him before Saturday. And that'll let us know how things are. They said that they like his chances of coming back for the playoffs, but realize they said the playoffs, not the first round. So we don't know. As far as I can say, you're probably not going to see Dame Lillard in this series.
If you say the words playoffs when you're going into the first round, it means you come back maybe in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe. So probably not.
Yeah. So with that being said, we have a Pacers team that sometimes wouldn't even say they find a defensive motor ever. I think they really just run into teams that just shoot the ball horrible that night. Like it's not too many times I look at them. And I said, "Oh man, that was a really great defensive possession by the Pacers."
Well,
Said that the other night when I was watching the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies series, and that had like 200 points in it. But I
yeah.
never say that when I watch the Pacers. Never.
There's one guy on the Pacers who I think is a very, very good defender who'd get more praise if he was on a good defensive team, and that's Nembhard. I think Nembhard's a really good defensive player.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument that Neesmith also has moments. They kind of rotate between him and Mathurin for minutes, but I think he's a good defender too. It's mostly Nembhard. I'll put it this way: Halliburton's gotten better defensively. He's still not a good defensive player, but he's not as big of a traffic cone as he used to be, and that counts for something. You got Miles Turner.
Shuffle them feet.
Yeah, you got Miles Turner as a rim protector who does give up a lot of points, but he does block some shots. People think he's good defensively. They're not a great defensive team, but they have a couple of guys who can play good defense if they get minutes. And Nembhard's one of those guys. Nembhard's a very good defensive player.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I like Nembhard. Miles Turner, shot blocker for me. Like, pure shot blocker. He's not doing anything against the bigs of the league. But
I'm saying I don't know if he's actually a good defensive player. He just blocks shots.
Yeah, I think he's a really, really good shot blocker. So, first bet for this is not actually an actual.
Did you read off the odds yet or
no? No, let me read off the odds here. So we got boom. We've got the 4 seed Pacers going up against the 5 seed Bucks here. Pacers for the series laying a $1.90 plus 155 for the Milwaukee Bucks. Looking at the series spread here, and we're sitting there at about what's this? Bucks plus 1.5 is minus 145. Pacers minus 1.5 is plus 120. So slightly, the odds at least are an image of the Knicks and the Pistons series, but you're getting one less game here. And of course, the total games is sitting there at 5.5. So the first bet is not actually one of those bets, Scott. Scott, they have this nice little widget here that says either team to come back and win a game from X points down in the series.
Maybe just lock that one up.
20-point deficit is plus 475.
Okay. I was thinking more like 15, but that works.
I would have liked the 10 to 15 option too. And we could search around and we could try to find the option. But it starts off, and I think they're crazy for starting it off at 20, but it starts off at 20 is plus 475. And I was like, man, 20 is a lot of points. But if there was anybody to do it, it's these two teams in this series.
Yeah.
And Minnesota, but we're not there yet.
Can I interest you in one game to go to overtime at plus 185?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to kill each other. It's really tough.
Shoot, I found a plus 270.
On overtime?
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, for the sake of the series, ignoring the rosters for a second, you know that I have issues with both coaches?
Yep.
Which coach do you like more between Carlisle and Doc Rivers? It's not as easy as you think. I think most people would blindly say Carlisle because they made the conference finals last year. I think it's tougher than people think. Most people would say Carlisle because they made the conference finals last year, but I think there's a conversation. I don't think Carlisle's that much better than Doc. I'm also lower on Carlisle than most people. So,
give me Doc, because at least Doc will pretend like he emphasizes defense.
I think Carlisle, at the end of the day, him and Doc are both really bad late in games, which should result in some serious choke jobs between both teams over the course of this matchup. But
oh, dude, if there was ever a series to go 3-1 and blow a 3-1 lead, it's this one.
At some point, Doc Rivers will come back from 3-1 down in a series, and the universe might explode. At some point. It hasn't happened yet, but it might happen.
It might happen in this series, shoot.
But I'll put it this way. For this series, I understand people wanting to take Indiana because they're healthier, and I understand that the Pacers did beat this team last year. Asterisk, nobody played for Milwaukee last year. For being
Giannis and Dame didn't play. That's all. It was Pat Bev leading the charge.
Pretty much. They won one game, though. That Game 5 one was glorious for them, but it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I do want to ask you, for this actual series, though, you mentioned before that you are a fan of teams ending the season on a hot note. and that was what the Clippers did.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks have won 8 in a row.
Yep.
I'm just throwing it out there. They have won 8 in a row. Does that factor into your breakdown of the series at all?
Yes. Yes. That's why I like the Bucks. I think the Bucks are the hot team coming in. They found a way to win games, and even their backups have taken on, an aspect of this team where they said that, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to play hard, even regardless. Like Kyle Kuzma went off early in that game yesterday. This Bucks team it feels like they are somewhat bought into their circumstance. And then if you add on top that Giannis literally saw this team beat them last year and could do nothing about it. Oh, dude, what a revenge spot. I mean, crazy revenge spot there.
I want to read off the Giannis game logs recently, just to summarize how good
Oh,
he's
he
actually
kills the
been.
Pacers, bro.
Oh, I don't mean against the Pacers. I mean in general. Like over
Oh,
the
well,
last
let
couple...
me pull up the numbers against the Pacers because he kills the Pacers.
Okay,
So
you can do that.
you
In the
go ahead.
meantime, I'll pull up the actual numbers. I just want to figure out how far back I should actually go. Okay, so I'll go back to the game against the Kings. From that point on to the end of the season. The last 10 games for Giannis, he has been averaging, sorry, just trying to find the actual numbers here. Where the hell is the points per game? Why does Basketball Reference make it so tough to actually find the points per game? Just a pain in the ass. It tells me like
It's
the
probably
field
all
goal
the way at the
percentage.
end.
I'm looking for it. I just see total points. Okay, I got it. So Giannis over the last 10 games is averaging 31.5 points per game. He's averaging 11.7 rebounds per game and 9.1 assists per game. What the hell is that? He's shooting 61% from the floor over the last 10 games.
Crazy. Yeah.
31 to like 12 and 9. He's been going crazy, and I feel like Indiana can't guard him.
Oh, I could tell you they can't guard him. Listen to his last game log against the Indiana Pacers. 34, 10, and 7, 19, 17, and 7, 30, 12, and 5, 37, 10, and 11, 26, 11, and 8, 30, 18, 11, 64, 14, and 3, 37, 10, and 2, 54, 12, and 3, 38, 17, and 12. Like and we can still keep going. There's 50-point games down here. There's 40-point games down here. There's multiple 40-point games in this list.
Is there a world where Giannis realistically averages 38 plus points per game? Because I actually think there is.
Yes. And I know that there are some markets that have the players over under for the series.
For averages,
I can't imagine that they would pop. I don't see it. I'm looking for it, but I don't see it. I have to search around, but I could only imagine. There's no way they would put a number high enough where I think Giannis is actually going to be in this series. I would
guess the line would be at like 33.5 maybe. And I would still
it's
take
not
the over.
enough. It's not enough. I don't think the Pacers have a shot, honestly. I think the Bucks are bad enough that they're going to let them hang around. And so that's why I said, man, if there was ever a chance for Doc to come back in a series, it would probably be this one. Because I could see them just kind of waking up defensively, making the adjustment, and then the Pacers are struggling to score, and the Bucks are able to walk out of this. I'm taking the Bucks plus the points. I like them to win the series. I actually think that a game one series double is actually interesting here because I could 100% see Indiana come into the first game at home, get the dub, and then Milwaukee takes game two and then goes back home and has a really good homestand. So I think Pacers to win game one, Bucks to win the series at 4-1 is actually a pretty solid price too.
I think the one thing that bothers me about Indiana right now, besides the fact that I don't trust Carlisle as a coach late in games, I know that it was in the comment section before. I believe it was Andre who made a comment about it. Let me just quickly see if I could find it. Yeah, he called Indiana comeback kings. You're not wrong, but why the hell are you trailing in every game by double-digit points? Like, Indiana just messes around for the first 2 quarters of almost every game, and I just don't think you can do that in the playoffs. And they might be able to get by because Doc Rivers might find a way to choke. But Indiana, the last couple games, played the Cavs. Nobody played in that game, but they were down 27, came back and they won.
Yeah.
They played Orlando. They got blown out. Basically, nobody played. Played Cleveland in a game they actually needed to win. Cleveland benched half the roster, and they still came back and won by 2. That game was close for no reason. They were down like 17 to the Wizards at home. The Wizards, they were playing everybody, and they were down 14 after a quarter. They came back from 16 down. They have been messing around in halves all the time recently, and that really annoys me because I don't know how I'm supposed to pick you to win a playoff series if you're constantly letting bad teams hang around and jump out to a head start. I think Indiana at some point will punt home court in one of these two games to start the series because they'll let Milwaukee go up 15 in the second quarter. And Indiana will try to make a comeback. It'll be too little too late, and they are going to end up losing. But I just don't know how many times you can spot the other team 10, 15 points and get away with it. And I think that's what's going to come back to bite them in the series, personally. It's going to sound like a hot take because I know that Lillard, we think, is not going to play in the series. But based on form and maybe eye test, I think I'm taking Milwaukee. And I don't feel good about it, but I don't feel good about either team. So I think with that being the case, if you want to pick an unexpected outcome or maybe something that you're kind of predicting to happen in the series, give me Indiana to blow at least one home game. Milwaukee jumps them in one game, gets a 20-point lead in the first half, and they do enough to win by like 5. They'll steal home court, and Giannis will carry from there. It's tough, though, because, yes, I understand Milwaukee's missing one of their best players. However, Milwaukee still easily has the best player in the series by a mile. And if you want to give me plus money at like plus 160 with clearly the best player in the series by a wide margin, I think there's value on that. So I'll go with the Bucks in 6. That's my thoughts. Is that a fair say? I mean, what do you like for an actual game total here?
Let's see. Split 1-1.
I have the Bucks winning the series at home in game 6.
Oh yeah. I can buy that. I'm agree with you. I think this is 1-1 split. I actually think this is 2-1 at the end of 3 games. I know some markets in this have what is the correct score after 3 games. I think this is 2-1 Bucks after 3 games.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And then if you told me that this was 2-2 going back to Indiana, I would believe it. But I don't know if I 100% think that's for a fact.
Sorry, you can finish your point.
No, so I can see how this can get to 7, but I can see a better range of outcomes of where the Pacers actually don't win a game at home. I mean, on the road. They don't win a game on the road. We're going back 3-1 to Indiana. Indiana prevents them from getting the gentleman's sweep, and then we go back to Milwaukee, and it's over there. So.
Well, I do want to ask you, though, for the sake of the series, if I told you Giannis ends up walking in, let's say for the sake of convenience, 36, 13, and 6, does Indiana have a chance to win the series?
No.
And I might be conservative. Like, Giannis could, in theory, average like 36, 15, and 8. Like,
yeah,
I thought crazy out here.
I thought that was super conservative. I thought you were so conservative that I almost said, yeah, they probably could, because that it feels like he's going to do more than that. But like,
that's kind of my point, though. Like, how superhuman does Giannis have to be for them to win the series? Because I think that 35, 12, and 6, you could argue is conservative. That's also really, really good.
Yeah.
Is that good enough for Milwaukee to win without Dame? Because that's part of the conversation.
I think it's really going to depend on everybody else too, man. And they've been getting good contributions. Like AJ Green's been shooting the ball really well for them, coming off of the bench. Gary Trent Jr. has his ups and downs. He really has to be on. They just got Bobby Portis back, and Bobby Portis looks good. They don't actually have. They don't have an option. They don't have an option for Bobby Portis. Like they literally don't have anybody that can guard him. And Bobby Portis, I'm pretty sure, has had some pretty solid games against the Pacers as well. So I think it's just really more of a bad matchup problem. And unfortunately, the Bucks have been so inconsistent. Like honestly, truly, this is clear-cut Bucks for me. But the only thing that makes me has cause for concern is the fact that the Bucks are so inconsistent that they're going to give away a game here or there.
But you say the same thing about Indiana, though. I think it's a fun matchup. I think both these teams have similar flaws.
Yeah. And that's why it's going to go longer than it should. I think that there's no reason that the Bucks should be a dog here, honestly. I don't think they should be a dog.
I understand it because of home court, but I think Indiana being around -$2 is insane.
That's closer to 200. If I saw -200 anything on Indiana, I'm like, what? So the fact that it's -190, like, no, it's way too much for Indiana.
I think
And
Indiana should be favored. I would have it at minus 125, minus 120. 198 is outrageous.
yeah,
That's outrageous
you're
to me. Again,
basically saying you think they're going to win.
and the Bucks have won 8 straight. Like, you're fading one of the hottest teams in the league who've been playing good basketball even without Dame. But Indiana, I think people are going to be biased towards because of the playoff run last year, which was pretty fluky. I mean, everyone in Milwaukee got hurt. The Knicks would have won the series if OG didn't die. And then you ended up seeing Brunson get hurt and Hart got hurt. The whole team got hurt. So you can argue the Knicks would not have blown a 3-2 series lead if a lot of their main guys didn't get injured in that series. And Indiana somehow ended up in the conference finals. I don't think Indiana is that good compared to what their resume was last year. And they were fortunate. It reminded me of the Hawks the year they made it. The Sixers blew those games. Ben Simmons game 7 happened. That you saw the Bucks get injured. They ended up beating the Hawks anyway. But you ended up seeing the Hawks find a way to get by against injured opponents. And I thought Indiana was fortunate with the draw. I don't think Indiana's as good as the results suggest last year, where they were a semifinalist in the entire league. I don't see that happening. I think the Bucks are, in my opinion, going to get revenge from last year. Give me Giannis giving me a massive, 36 points per game series. I'll pick Milwaukee in 6.
All right. I have Milwaukee in 6 as well.
Okay.
I think 6 is enough where they blew a couple of games, but they still win with the convincing fashion that I think they're going to win.
By the way, Milwaukee minus 1.5 games is plus 250. If you want to go for the actual score in the series, Bucks in 6 is plus 475.
Yeah. I like it.
But give me Giannis average 35.
Time for Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. I'm going to be dropping a pick'em lineup the entire playoffs. And have
I was going to say, I don't know if we have futures on Underdog, so we might have to put a bow on that.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not going to do one right now, but
we can do best bet, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, best bets. We got the best bets feature coming up in a second. And so, hey, make sure you sign up NBA SGPN over there at Underdog Fantasy. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. You can play any sport and win up to 100 times your entry. Up to 100 times your entry. Just pick higher or lower or your favorite player's fantasy stats, and you'll be able to do that. So that's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, your home for AI, bat picks, and props over there at Rhythm. Now live from Major League Baseball. They have NBA golf stuff as well. Shout out to Rory. And building your own model is super easy and it's simple. You can do that over there at Rhythm. So lock in on Rhythm. Rhythm has an amazing deal going on. Actually, a couple of amazing deals already going on. 25% off monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. All right, we're going to have some best bets going on. What you want to do? A lock and a dog, or just throw out a bunch of stuff that we like for the series?
It's up to you. I mean, best bets, I know we could either do one play each, or we could just say whatever we want. It's our podcast after all.
Yeah, let's fire off a bunch. Let's click through and let's slide through, and whatever stands out, let's give it out, because I'm ready to play some bets here. I'm ready to get down on. These are the futures I like, Scott. The futures that only take a week to cash.
Okay.
However, if you would like a longer sweat, the Aces to win the title is plus 330 right now.
Drafts tonight, right?
Yep. And if you would like an even longer sweat, I'm pretty sure South Carolina to win NCAA tournament is 3-1 right now. That's free money. They are 100%. They always revenge after they lose in the title game.
Well, Page isn't there anymore for UConn, so there you go.
Yep. All right.
By the way, I see a comment from a realist asking for player props. To be honest, we really want to. We haven't seen any listed.
Yeah, I don't really have full. I don't have full series long props yet, so maybe
we really wanted to. We just couldn't find any. So Giannis,
if you see something, let me know though. Yeah, Giannis over. I would play Giannis over on his assists. Actually,
I'm a bit concerned that Indiana's game plan might be to let Giannis go off and stop everybody else.
Oh no, bro. He doesn't think that much in the defense, man. I
I
don't
don't know
believe
what
it.
the hell Rick Carlisle's thinking. What's the point?
I will fade that Rick Carlisle is not thinking too much in the defense to try anything like that. I think Giannis averaged close to a triple double here, and there's no way there's no way they're gonna make that 9 assists. Like the last 10 games you were talking about, he's averaging 9 assists. No way they make it 9. They're gonna make it like 6, maybe 7. And I think that still might not be enough. Like he's been pretty good at the assists to the Pacers as well. So
By the way, unrelated, I do have one other thing that I got to talk about.
yep.
You want to audition for the Suns head coaching job?
Oh, they just fired him?
Fired
No.
him.
Oh, did I miss that notification coming across the bar?
Frank Vogel woke up and popped a bottle of champagne.
Ah, Scott, breaking news around here. Hell yeah, 1 minute ago. Ah, I'm so glad that they waited until we they got it done before we. So wrong coach. Typical for me. Wrong coach got fired during the length of our podcast. Very typical for me, but Mike Bud. See you, man.
When it comes down to bad owners in the league, I know that Knicks fans hate Dolan with a passion.
Yeah,
did Ish be a speed run being a bottom 2 owner in the league?
Maybe. We'll see what happens with the third coach.
He destroyed the team in 2 years.
We'll see what happens with the third coach. Maybe it's the third coach.
The point is the Suns are screwed anyway. They're going to trade Durant in the offseason, but they decided Budenholzer was not the guy for them. I would feel bad for him, but I sat behind him on an airplane one time and he took his shoes off. So I do not feel bad for Budenholzer at all. I've told you that story, right?
What? No. Why?
No? I never told you that story? I was the best man at my my freshman year. I was in a dorm room and I had a freshman roommate. So he got married about 2-3 years ago or so. I was the best man at the wedding. So I'm flying back from Wisconsin to New York and I sit down. I'm in like the 7th row or whatever. Some guy walks in front of me.
Money.
Buck sweatpants. Just got fired, by the way. Just got fired. It was after the Jimmy Butler series against Milwaukee. So Budenholzer walks onto the plane. And he's wearing Buck sweatpants after they fired him during the same week his brother died. But he's still wearing the Buck sweatpants. And he sits down in the row in front of me, like literally right in front of me. And first thing he does on the plane, takes his shoes off. Took his shoes off on the plane. Immediately felt no sympathy for him at all for getting fired. And that's my thoughts on Budenholzer. But he got on the plane.
What's the issue? Well, first of all, his feet must have stunk.
It's common courtesy. Hell is that? Come on, man.
I mean, if your feet
public space, you don't take your shoes off. Come on.
I do understand that. I do that's why I just wear slides or Crocs in the airport, so I don't have to handle that issue. But was it just bare feet? Was he barefoot?
I didn't get a look at his feet, if that's what you're asking, but I saw him take his shoes off and throw them basically by the corner of the row. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? So
he threw the shoes?
I put it in front of him, but I noticed he took his shoes off, and then he asked the stewardess for hot water, which apparently is like the common drink among NBA coaches because they don't want to drink like coffee all the time. So they just ask for hot water, and they'll just drink like steaming hot water for hours, and that's how they stay awake. So apparently that's like a coaching trick. But yeah, he sat on the plane in Buck sweatpants after they fired him like 2 days before, and he took his shoes off on the plane. So I immediately felt no sympathy for him getting fired. That was my Mike Budenholzer experience. Fun fact. So there you go. That was like 2-3 years ago, give or take.
Oh man, Scott.
I thought I told that story on the pod before.
You might have told it. I might not have been here, or my memory's horrible. So maybe I was here and I just didn't remember, and I had this same exact reaction.
For the record, this is not Budenholzer's fault that the team fell apart, but I'm not surprised he got scapegoated.
Dude, not at all. They're about to get rid of him. They're about to trade KD. It's about to be a fire sale here.
Except Booker's going to be just hanging around.
Maybe.
I think they're going to keep Booker until he forces his way out, personally.
I was about to say, he might force his way out.
He really should. I mean, that organization is an absolute dumpster fire at the moment. So either way, point is Budenholzer got fired.
Look, he about to watch Detroit in this. He about to watch Detroit lose in 6 games and be like, oh, they're almost there.
You know what Cade could use? Me.
Me and then the next thing we know, Jaden Ivey is in a Suns jersey.
Yeah, pretty much. A couple first-round picks in there, but I mean, for the props, to go back to the actual games we talked about, we think Detroit hangs in there. Yep. So we like Detroit plus 2.5 games.
Minus 145.
Yeah, so I don't mind that.
Put that in the bank. I
see Milwaukee leading 2-1 after 3 games at plus 210. I'm a fan of that. At plus 210. I'll take that.
I need that one. So I'm going to add that to my repertoire. So I gave out a parlay yesterday, Scott. I don't want to bury the lead because 2 of the legs we haven't talked about yet, but the third leg was I just laid the juice, the minus 180 in the over 5.5 games with the Bucks and Pacers.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, shoot, the Knicks is, yeah. So I think that if you
The Knicks never
go,
make it easy. That should go at least 6 games.
if
They
you
never
go
make it easy.
over 5.5 in Knicks Pistons and over 5.5 in Bucks Pacers, and they both get to 6, that's plus 190. I think that's actually pretty doable.
Okay. I'm not against that.
And then we got our exact outcomes. I'm definitely playing the exact on 4-2 for both of these 2 series. Bucks 4-2 is plus 475. Love that. You had Bucks.
That's a great price.
Bucks in 3 is 7-1, Scott. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm gonna have to play that.
I think you meant Bucks in 4, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
7-1.
But Pacers, Smacers, Dacers, Bucks in 3.
Yeah.
I
found another one I'm interested in for Milwaukee. I'll be a bit different from you, but I think the Bucks have value in the series. Bucks to steal game 1 and win the series is plus 380.
No, I like it. I do like it.
When was the last time Indiana actually played meaningful basketball? Against the Cavs when they almost lost to the G League team on TNT and they came back and they won? They have not looked good over the last couple of weeks, and they constantly get off the bad starts in games. I think Milwaukee, after the run they've been on winning 8 straight, I think they jump them in game 1, and I think they do enough to win the series. So I don't mind Bucks to win game 1 and the series at plus 380.
And then I can close it out. Unless you got more. Total games. Total overtime games. 1. Plus 270. Oh, we're getting 1.
I think we should.
The 2 or more being 25-1. It feels like, is this the... Oh no. So any series that they think is going to be somewhat competitive, this is basically what they price it out at. So this is not just for this, which means I don't think that they're valuing how much these 2 teams actually play each other to the wire.
Yeah.
Because Nuggets, this being the same price as the Lakers Timberwolves for the overtime games. I think that's, even though I do think that's a competitive series. I think
the Lakers got a hell of a draw, but we'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I agree with you. I think you get at least 1 close game. You have 2 coaches that choke away games. Yeah. So you might end up getting chaos as a result. So I think the series last year had an overtime game, didn't it? Didn't Middleton take over a game and they went to overtime?
Yeah.
I think. And Halliburton had a triple-double, I think. That was game 2, maybe?
No, I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
I think Middleton had a monster game and then Halliburton had a triple-double and they won to overtime, I think. So I believe that cashed last year in the series.
It's hard to remember because these teams have played a million freaking times in a year span.
No, but I remember Middleton going crazy in one of the first 2 games of that series. Yeah, so it was game 3. Game 3, Indiana won in overtime, and Halliburton had a triple-double. Middleton had 42 points. So I was right, except I was 1 game off. But they did go to overtime. That did cash last year.
All right.
Damn, Middleton had 42 in a playoff game and got traded for Kyle Kuzma. Damn, that's tough. That's tough. Okay. But yeah, so there we go.
All right. That's it. Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Not really. Once again, a lot of episodes coming up over the next few days. We have playoff series. We have play-in games. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the play-in games for Tuesday. We might have a couple of night episodes, potentially. So we have to work out the schedule. Probably going to work out a Zoom call just to organize everything. So keep that in mind. If we have an episode one random night, don't be surprised by it. So keep your notifications on. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And once again, don't forget to hit the like button and to leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple.
There you go. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at ___. Make sure you give us a follow. And that is it. We are going to be here tomorrow talking about some playing games and all of that good stuff. And
playing. Talk about the play.
Yeah.
Playing.
Love the play-in. Love the play-in. Oh, dude. Love the play-in. Here we are. All right. With that, that is it. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to do like this. We are out of here.